What's up? Haworth Podcast, episode 9.
Hey everyone.
Hey. We got big GH, Glenn Haworth, here at the table.
What's happening, everyone? Good to be back.
How's that? His shirt is on, but it's the start. It's the start of the episode.
I'm lose a button every minute.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have video, so it's just going to be...
just imagine.
Make
Sorry,
sure you
ladies.
pop that button close to the mic.
Combination between Arnie and Jesus, this buddy.
Oh, gee.
That's what they've said that. I've heard people say that. And we've got a special guest here as well. We've got our mate Vinny from AMI, Vincent Cleary.
Oh,
Hey?
thanks
What's
for the
that?
last name, bro.
There you go.
Hey, cheers. Hey, guys, how you doing?
I reckon you should just go like the Madonna style, just one name.
One name, Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny.
Vinny,
And
yeah.
everyone knows Vinny.
That's it, mate.
Yeah,
That's it, yeah.
There's probably heaps of other Vinnies, but you're the main one.
I'm the main Vinny.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
V-Dog.
Yeah.
You're the coolest one.
But yeah, for clarification, Vincent Cleary. Sounds so much more professional.
Oh, Jesus, man. I only call that when I'm in trouble for my mum.
Vincent.
Vincent!
And Vinny, Vinny is with AMI. They look after massive brands here in Australia. Like, I don't know if you've heard of this electric guitar brand called Gibson.
Yeah, they're so hot right now.
Gibson. Is that it's Gibson, isn't it?
Gibson.
Yeah.
Gibson.
And Epiphany.
Epiphany, yeah. That's my favourite.
Epiphone.
Epiphone.
And a few other bits and pieces. Orange, KRK.
Yep, that's right.
Is that it?
No, we got Serlin Vega and we do Stanton as well.
Yeah, I know
that. And there's also some other brands, like some Epiphone offshoot brands, like Tobias.
Yep.
So they do basses and things like that.
Yeah. Okay,
obviously
cool.
we've got the bluegrass stuff, Dobro. So
Yeah, that's right. Dobro. Yeah,
Dobro.
get them.
And we've got Kramer as well. So you want
That's
some
right.
80s
old school
hair
How do
metal?
you go with Kramer?
Good, man. Good. Yeah. Steel Panthers actually brought it back out. Yeah.
They play Kramers, do they?
Yeah, well, we actually
That
just
makes
got the Satchel version of the Kramer, so the USA made one.
Yeah,
It was $2,000, and man, just
$2,000 for USA.
Kramer. Yeah, it was pretty well priced actually,
Yeah, it
and
is.
mate, sold like hotcakes, and just dudes with like big
Steel
hair
Panther,
and
leather pants.
pretty much, man, spandex and
They want those Kramers.
It was crazy. It was like
Crazy.
it came
Yeah.
in like some crazy psychedelic colors.
That's crazy. We were talking about metal guitars a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Kramer didn't come up. I
Yeah,
forgot
well,
about Kramer.
it's just
I was thinking of Seinfeld.
no,
Actually, he's
it's-
out at the moment.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
You should get him as an endorsee.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Whether he can play it or not, just for
He could just
posters.
talk about it.
Just for posters.
9 seasons.
You know how,
9 seasons is it?
Jackson used to get like porn stars to do like all their promotion. Do
They
you
did.
remember that?
Yep,
Do you remember
they
that?
did.
Yes.
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
that was
You could just get Kramer.
awesome.
You could get Kramer to be a Kramer endorsee.
And dress all sexy, like
Yeah.
or the Kramer holding
Kramer.
holding
The
a Kramer.
Kramer. Like,
That's
does he
holding
bust
it,
through
yeah.
the door like, whoa!
If you use that, I want 70% of whatever the marketing brings in. And I'll sue you if I don't
But it's
get it.
really great to have you on here, Vinny. Thanks for
guys, for
coming
having
down,
me.
mate.
Thanks,
It's always good to see you. You're always a burst of energy. We
Thanks,
love Vinny.
guys. I try.
Fun times with Vinny.
Good vibes. Always good vibes.
So Vindog,
Yeah.
tell me what's the cool? What's hip? What are the kids
hip?
talking about in Gibson these
Oh,
days?
in Gibson. I thought it was like what the kids talking
In
about.
general, no,
Oh,
God, no.
man, Dora,
Yeah.
Doc McStuffins, you know.
McStuffins is big.
Yeah. My
in
Little
Gibson,
Pony.
in Gibson guitars.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Because
Electric.
it's-
Let's go electric guitars.
Electric guitars. Yeah,
What do
cool.
They do? They dabble in acoustics.
Dabble. Smidge.
Yeah.
Teeny bit.
No, they got some nice acoustics. But yeah, like
Electric.
Gibson in general, we've talked about it on previous podcasts, haven't we? How lately, like the last kind of year or two, like we've noticed a big spike in Gibson interest, Gibson sales.
Yeah, I
you
think
guys are doing something right. Well, and obviously Gibson USA are doing something right.
Yeah, I think it's down to the manufacturing. Like, I've been with AMI for almost 5 years now, and I've had a lot of friends. I'm a musician myself, and a lot of people use Gibson that I've known for a long period of my life. It's always been one of those brands, and I think when I first started with AMI, there was that tribute series in 2012.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the start of what Gibson have kind of tried to achieve, I believe, anyway, with being in a price point that's more achievable for the general masses.
Price point for sure. They've just
Oh,
it's taken a little while, but
Yeah.
then they've just they've hit it.
And
They've
still,
got it
and,
right.
and still USA made.
Yeah, it is.
They've been
And
able
it's-
to keep the Gibson name. Still USA made. They haven't moved to any other countries to
The
do it
quality's
cheaper.
fantastic, and like even someone like me, I work for AMI, and in 2013 I bought a LPJ, one of the cheapest models.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with it. I picked it up, and I was down in Melbourne, and I was handpicking some guitars out of the warehouse for some dealers. Actually, I think it might have been for you guys. Actually, I was going through handpicking some guitars, and we got this big shipment in, and I just kind of picked up an LPJ and thinking, oh, okay, well, the guys at Haworth, I need a couple of these, and started playing through them, just testing the necks, and I pick things up on feel. I don't really do the spec thing, right? I just pick it up, have a feel. If it plays good to me, I think it's good.
Yeah.
So I picked this LPJ up, and I just kind of went, wow, like this thing's like, it was $1,200 retail at the time, and I'm just thinking, USA made, $1,200. It just sung.
Yeah.
Like it just sonically sounded great unplugged.
Yeah.
And then when I plugged it in, it was just amazing. Like,
It's like the Spinal Tap thing.
yeah, it's just, it was that weird moment, man. I just, sustained.
Well, that's what Gibsons are known for, though, because they got set necks, so they don't have bolt-on necks, most of them.
That's right.
And carved, like big, thick mahogany bodies,
That's
carved
right.
top,
Yeah.
dense wood, and got the reverse angle headstock, so the strings glide over the nut easy down. You don't need
That's
string
right.
trees.
Yeah.
So they're known for having a lot of sustain.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything through your bolt-on necks and things like that. And they're a quality guitar because that takes time and money and resources to do a angled
it's a ton of
headstock
R&D.
and to
ton.
do a carved top and to do thick mahogany bodies and set neck and everything. So
Exactly right. Like it takes, even a lot of these other brands. When we go, off topic, off Gibson for a second, you think about all these new brands that are kind of popping up, and they've had a lot of R&D. They just don't turn up one day and go, hey, look, I just built this guitar. Like those guys research. So you think of all the research and all the innovations that Gibson have done, and that's why where they are now. In terms of they can get these price point achievable guitars that have great sustain, as you say, and they're set up well, and they sound great. They sound like a Les Paul, or an SG,
right.
whatever variant you want. And
yeah,
I think it's great. And this year is just it hasn't really changed too much in terms of the sales kind of.
Has it been a good year for Gibson?
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
We're selling a lot of Les Paul. Surprisingly, we're selling a lot of Firebirds.
Yeah, because they're sick.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah,
that's
definitely,
right.
man. Definitely.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah,
like how good those Firebirds and the the Flying V's.
Flying V's,
as well?
Explorers.
Yeah,
we went,
but they're priced really well.
That's right.
But the what's the blue? That's
Pelham Blue.
Pelham
Blue.
Pelham Blue.
the silent H.
Yeah. It got me. The first time I
Yeah.
looked at it, I went, Pelham?
Felham.
Epiphany?
No. Yeah. Because the Dave Grohl was like the only thing you could get in that finish for ages.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden you can buy that Firebird for what's the
$25.99 for the studio.
The studio,
and then it's $3,099 for the standard 1.5 case.
Yeah.
So which is awesome. You
Yeah.
think many years ago, those guitars, they weren't even in that price point. And they
They were
limited
like
runs.
$5,000.
Yeah, exactly
They
right.
were.
And
they
they
were
were still
5099 or
just
something.
crazy pricing.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that was.
And I
what they
blamed
did
you,
then.
Vinny.
Blame me?
I blamed you.
Yeah, man, I got to pay for my Ferrari somehow, right?
That's right. Yeah. Just I've got a Ferrari. I can't put petrol in it.
Yeah. It's one of those Matchbox cars Ferraris.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've got two of them.
Two,
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah, those Firebirds have been wicked.
good,
and they catch your eye as soon as you walk in the shop and see that thing.
Yeah, exactly right.
rock
It's
and
something
roll.
different,
It's rock and roll.
I think, it is, man.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is definitely. But I think it's those colours. You're right. It's something different. You can you walk into a guitar shop, man. The amount of times you see black, white, and then burst.
Yeah,
And then you kind of you see the occasional blue guitar or green guitar. And I think
slime green.
Slime green's cool. Nothing wrong. Hey, you know what, man? My favourite colour, and I think it stems back from my childhood, my favourite guitar colour is a surf green Fender.
Surf green is
I love it, man. I
so
don't know
popular.
what it is.
Fender stopped doing it for so long.
I know.
And then I don't know. It just everyone wants a surf green Strat.
It's kind of like, you know, when you tell someone you can't have that, and they're like, but I want it.
Yeah, like a John Mayer
yeah.
Strat.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right. Yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
like,
So
no one wanted it until they didn't
yeah,
make it anymore.
it's like you can't have
yeah,
that. It's
I want to
when
be
you-
like John Mayer though.
Yeah, it's like when you're a kid and your parents go, "Don't touch a PowerPoint." You're like, "Switch."
Yeah.
Like, don't touch it.
Were you stoked when Tom DeLonge left Fender and went to Gibson?
I'm not one of those people that goes, "Yeah, man, we got
Take
him
that."
now. He's mine." And I'm just, you know, I'm happy that, you know, he's playing Gibson
But
guitars.
Tom DeLonge Epiphone is
Super popular.
always heaps
man.
popular.
Yeah, because it's
such
got
a cool guitar. It
well,
doesn't, it doesn't look like someone's signature guitar. It just looks like a rad guitar.
It does, and it's got a
Yeah.
Gibson pickup in there, and the price
Yeah,
point's super
yeah,
cheap.
yeah.
You know, for what it is. When you think about like a normal like a Gibson 335, right?
Yeah.
The Epiphone build in terms of the specs are very close. So you're looking at a product that is, whilst he uses a Gibson, a Gibson made ES333, I think his version's called.
Yeah.
The Epiphone versions are not too far from it, but it's got the same pickup in there. So, you know, you're going to get pretty damn close to
his
sound,
Yeah,
which is
that's right.
really cool.
Yeah.
Gary
And
Clark Jr. was, that's popular too,
well,
right?
that's right. And the thing with those models, especially those Epiphone models, like the Lee Marlier model as well, and he's just brought out the RD artist and... I think he's got an Explorer, I think.
Right,
from memory. They just got released at NAMM.
There's a few of those good signature series. There was a Joe Bonamassa Les Paul, which was like... Do they still do it? Is that
yeah.
It's like...
he's always got a variant of it each year.
I was going to say, like...
He's had a Palin Blue,
when
a
that
gold
came
top.
out... Oh,
It's got a,
it was like everyone wanted that thing.
It's like they just have it's such a limited supply when they announce
That's
it,
right.
Yeah.
And then it just creates such a demand and everyone's like, have to have one.
But the good thing going back to those Gary Clark Juniors is that's the actual guitar he uses live.
Plays an Epiphone?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Gary Clark.
Yeah, it's really cool. And same with Lee Marlier, and Matt Heafy.
Yeah,
they're the guitars that they actually use, recording live and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah,
it's really cool for someone that's a fan of those bands. And
actually
me
have
personally, I'm a
back
fan
guitar.
of Bring Me the Horizon and all those kind of I'm a big hardcore kind of dude and pop punk. And when I see those bands using those guitars and those artists, I'm like, wow, I can actually buy that guitar and try and achieve that sound.
Yeah,
that's
maybe
big.
my skill set's not as good as theirs.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't know.
But I can
play
sit in my
above the fifth
bedroom.
fret, but they get way up there.
They get too
They're
high,
way up
man.
there.
Once you get past like 12 frets, I'm like, oh man, it's out of my league,
Easy
dude.
there. Those frets are so small.
But-
You've been over the factory, G.
I was going to say, and met. Speaking of Epiphone,
Wait,
Dr. Epiphone.
you haven't
man, that
you
guy's
didn't
a
meet Dr.
legend.
Met
Epiphone.
Dr. Epiphone.
The man
we hung
himself.
out.
No,
We hung out.
Did you party?
We partied.
Did you party with him?
We partied.
Oh, you would have partied, definitely.
Yeah.
No, that's,
If you don't know Dr. Epiphone, he doesn't turn up on as much Epiphone literature these days as he
I
used
think
to. But
he's getting partied out, man. He's
He's-
been partying
you
for a
need
long
to
time.
just-
I think there's still plenty of party left in it.
yeah,
let me
I'm
tell
sure
you.
there is. I'm just saying for the kids out there, Google image Dr.
Yeah.
Epiphone and you see that's party.
He's
That's
a cool
party.
dude.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the story real quick. So I think it was 2008. We went over AMI. We went over with the AMI. This is before your time, Vinny.
Yeah,
and
definitely
AMI.
before my time, yeah.
And they took a few stores over.
That's right.
And I was fortunate enough to go over. So we went over to Nashville. Went through the Gibson factories in Nashville.
Yep.
Then we drove down to Memphis through the factory in Memphis where they make a lot of the archtop guitars.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
And so it
so
was-
different facility just for
Just
for
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Different for
for like
archtops.
335s and all
Yeah,
that
so
sort of stuff.
Memphis
Yep.
make all your arch tops, and,
Okay.
and
And-
then you got Montana that make
and
the acoustics.
That's
Yeah.
why they're called Memphis.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Not
Glenn,
just a clever name.
Yeah.
digress. Go,
Okay.
That's it.
go forth.
But we had a ball because we went to Nashville. We hung out in Nashville. We went to like the BB King bar. We saw this guy play. I'm trying to remember what his name was, but
Dave.
He was playing this
Call him
endorsee. This endorsee in Nashville was. They took us. The guys at Gibson took us to this place to see this guy play. Who's an endorsee. He's playing like an Epiphone Sheridan.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And he would break a string while he was playing, and change the string mid-song while he's singing and still playing.
Was that his thing?
It was like his thing. It was like his... Because
card trick,
Dr.
right?
Epiphone was like, we're going to go see this guy.
Dr. Epiphone.
We're going to go see this guy. We're going to party with this guy.
He sounds like that. He's just so passionate.
Yeah.
He's just so
do you
into
reckon
it.
he just goes home at the end of the day and just
Well, we had this
cries?
funny joke. Me and a few of these other retailers had this funny joke because Futurama was big at the time, the cartoon.
Yeah.
And you had, was it Slugworm, the party slug? And we were like... Because
You jokers, you.
No, I love Dr. Epiphone, but it was just funny because Slugworm, the party slug, would like off air, he would be like, "Man, I'm so tired. I just want to rent a movie and get some friends around. I'm just exhausted." And we thought like Dr. Epiphone would be the same, but he's so go all the time. You're like, man, he must be tired out. But he's a cool guy. But the thing is, he creates a good vibe.
He does.
He created a good vibe. He got the party going. He took us out to gigs, and he knows his product. He loves Epiphone.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to do with the international dealers. I think with Epiphone.
Vinny.
And
get him out here. Get him on the podcast.
Yeah, you should come out.
You get Dr. Epiphone in here.
I will do my absolute best. If he does come to Australia, I will bring him down for the podcast.
Do this.
Definitely.
Do this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
He's like the face of Epiphone.
Yeah,
right?
he
Like
is.
when you think of Epiphone, like literature.
Well, I remember you used to get tons of like swing tags and all that sort of stuff with Epiphone. It's
Yeah.
like everyone's is so environmentally friendly now that you don't get like
we don't want to cut those trees down.
You don't
yeah.
get like 2 trees worth of like paper material with every guitar.
Yeah.
But he used to be on everything.
Yeah.
Like the
That's right.
boxes, every form in the thing, the swing tags was him. He's like the face of Epiphone.
He's like the mascot, right?
Yeah, 100%. Dr. Epiphone.
Yeah. But he's a cool guy. He's a nice guy.
He's awesome.
And it was great hanging out with him. So,
Totally.
So
Try and get
shout
him out of here, Vinny.
Shout out to him.
I'll do my
great,
best.
Great to get him out here.
I'll speak to the powers that be.
Yeah.
and just from the factories, it was really cool just going through the factories and just seeing how things are done and the workmanship, the quality control and everything that goes into these Gibsons.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Was really cool as well. So we had a ball.
So that's so they have one facility in Nashville that does all, like Les Paul's, SGs, all that sort
everything,
of
and I
stuff.
think they have the custom shop there too, don't they? In
there's
Nashville,
a separate office.
Right, okay.
Because we're going about like 10 years ago, so I'm just remembering. But yeah, so custom shop in Nashville as well, and they took us through that, and they've got this whole kind of like a really small storeroom of just these really pimped out custom shop guitars.
Right.
I've heard about this,
They brought out a few guitars and showed us, and some of these they had these kind of archtop Gibsons they made just for like there was a Beatles tribute one. They just made one guitar, and they have all this artwork over the whole guitar of Beatles history, and they did one for the 20th century, everything that happened in the 20th century,
crazy.
right? Like etched into the guitar.
Yeah, right.
And I think it was that one they brought out. They let us play him, and they said, we call this one the $1 million guitar because they had, I think it was a Japanese dealer came in and offered him $1 million for that guitar.
Wow.
And they obviously said no, they want to keep it in their collection, so they call it the $1 million guitar.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to see that stuff, to hear about guys like, like Zach Wilde and that coming through and in the custom shop and picking.
How does
how
does their custom shop work over there? Is it a full on like built to order like people send their specs in, they build a guitar, or do they?
I think
they make runs of custom stuff, or like,
I think.
Do you know how it works?
Well, I think it's like that. It's a good place for the artists to go. So the artists go and they talk specs and they obviously design their guitars and that sort of thing there. And it's obviously where they make, the Les Paul custom sort of stuff. The custom shop.
Yeah, your general run stuff like your 59s, 58s.
Yeah. Like still customs, but they come through the custom shop.
Yeah, so obviously they do a production run. It's no different from any sort of other production run.
But they have the guys in the custom shop say, okay, we're going to build X amount of these guitars. Or
so what they... I've been... we've got a guy out here called Clayton Doherty who actually runs the marketing and outreach entertainment relations side of that business, and so he's explained it to me. Yeah. And basically what they do is they have an artist that comes in, let's say they're doing like any set artist run guitar, and they'll make a limited run of those guitars to the spec of that artist. So they'll get their they'll
get Slash's Les Paul,
pretty much,
and then bring it in and X-ray it and all that sort of crazy stuff, and then build that guitar.
Yeah, they do a spec run, and they'll recently they've done like a 3-tiered run, so they'll do like a standard VOS guitar, then they'll do like a bunch of like aged VOS guitars, and then they'll do a super limited run of like these aged VOS. And for those listening out there that don't know what VOS is, it's vintage original spec. And it'll be signed by the artist. They'll be super limited. So we actually got a...
Are they the ones that you see little like 25 grand?
Pretty
like
much,
30 grand?
Yeah. So like a good example was the Bob Dylan double pick guard or butterfly pick guard, however you want to describe it, acoustic. And so we got some standard ones in VOS, and then we got a couple of aged ones from memory, and then there was like one signed one. And then, you know, I remember being at NAMM when they're releasing this guitar, right? And I looked at it, and, you know, being a muso, you know, first thing you go and do is go to pick up the guitar, and there's these two big 7 foot tall ex-NFL type bouncers.
Yeah, that punched you in the head.
Basically, like they basically like palm me off, you know, NRL like kind of like palm off, like you can't touch that.
Guitar bodyguards.
Pretty much.
Like that. We were talking earlier about Scared Straight. It was like
like
you were the kid in the
pretty much, man. If anyone's ever watched one of those like episodes, I was like that kid just going, no, peel the orange. I'll peel the orange. But it was just like
they didn't. I tell you what, Martin didn't have them when we went over to the M.
No,
we were just picking up like
you could pick up some nice
$15,000 guitars.
Oh, like they had like you know, that year they had like the Jubilee guitars, which you know had all these like, you know, gemstones. I think from memory, this is a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And they had like everyone was picking up guitars,
it's like some Indiana Jones stuff.
Sorry,
it's like some Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You know, like it was just nuts. They had this bling on them. I remember they had this bling, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty out there. But they had this like J2. It was the J200 up there. I went to go pick it up, and they're like, no, and I'm like, but.
Say, I am Gibson.
Well, I was like, oh, wait there, sir. No, I said, hey, look, you know, I work for, you know, the distributor in Australia, and
they're like, where's that?
They're like, Australia, kangaroos.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you can't touch this. This is actually the original guitar.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, cool, no worries. I'm like,
that's Bobby's.
That's okay. I totally understand it. Like, cool.
Okay, that's cool.
And I'm like, so I go and like, you know, pick up a couple of other guitars, and I'm playing them. You know, they had the new run out and stuff, and I'm picking up some different models I hadn't seen before. I think that year they changed the Supreme as well. From like a standard Les Paul to a more of an archtop with holes and stuff. So I'm picking that up, having a bit of a play, and I'm just looking over at this like guitar and just watching these dudes just like palm
people off.
You know, there's these guys who like microphones and video cameras, like doing all their like, you know, YouTube videos and stuff, and they're just going to pick up this guitar, and these dudes are just, I reckon they were just paid there just to run blocking defense for this guitar. They're like, no. Yeah, and they're like literally, like, you know, just gently, just moving people out of the way. Yeah, here's the perimeter.
Yeah.
Don't come near it. And
should have got a velvet rope. Never get past a velvet rope.
That's right.
Really cool. But it was just interesting to see that they still, like, you know, they go and grab like the original guitar.
Pretty cool.
They don't just kind of guesstimate or
that's what I do.
Oh, I think
that's why I don't run a custom shop.
Pretty much. Yeah. But cool. It was really cool and unique to see that, you know, hey, they still get the original stuff, and they look at it and they go, man, you know, this is what we're gonna try to achieve right now. And I just thought it was really cool, and it was a piece of history there as well.
Oh, like, for sure, that you can't touch.
Yeah.
No touching.
No touching. Touch with your eyes.
Bevo was telling us a couple of episodes ago about these apparently Epiphone releasing some crazy cheap, like $200 or $150 Les Paul or something.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
Is it lies? Was he just telling us lies?
No.
He's a liar.
Okay, well, he might be a liar in other instances, but
I just know that he is going to listen to this, so I find it humorous to call him a liar.
We love you, Bevo. You're not a liar.
You're a good man. You're on the ball.
Glenn doesn't think you're a liar.
So,
to clarify.
So basically, Summer NAMM obviously just happened.
Yeah.
And there's this new Les Paul SL series, so it's got like single coil pickups. It's kind of like, I know, it's like definitely different, but if you think about like a Les Paul Junior, which is kind of like what it looks like. I've only seen pictures, so I haven't actually picked up the guitar and played it.
Do you know when they're going to come to Australia?
I definitely know we've ordered them.
Yeah.
Because they've just been released, we'll probably see them right before Christmas, which is good timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in America, the street price is $99. It's so cheap, man. Like, and I think that's a really good thing for people that want to get into guitars, because
you just kill what they're branded Epiphone.
Yeah, it's branded Epiphone. It's like it's a slab
you kill
body.
off every no name like
I don't
no-name electric guitar.
I don't
you?
think it's about killing off. I think it's just
Oh,
about
that's what
making.
I'm saying.
Oh, you know, cool. It's
Well,
all good.
like, okay, but
I'm not a violent guy.
But
so.
if you've got just like a eBay special guitar that's going to cost you $150,
yeah,
or you can get an Epiphone for $150.
I think it becomes a more compelling argument to buy an Epiphone branded guitar at that price
Well,
point.
people know what an Epiphone is.
Well, that's right. You know, you've still got, you know...
Epiphany? No, Epiphone.
I think you've still got a lot of, like, big marquee artists still using Epiphone branded guitars.
Yeah, Gary Clark.
Yeah, Gary Clark.
Yeah.
Lee Marlier. So, Matt Heafy. There's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there's artists that aren't even... You know, don't even have their own artist model. They're still playing Epiphones. You know,
Yeah.
I see... You know, I go to the pub on the weekends like everyone else. You know, not every weekend. I've got 2 kids, so it's a little harder to get out.
Yeah.
You know,
Just take them.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know, I went to a pub, side note, I went to a pub up near my place not too long ago, and they totally renovated it, and they put this big, like, you know, McDonald's playlist on steroids.
Yeah.
And, you know, big TVs and stuff, and like it was like enclosed and heaters and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking... Oh, I'm going to bring the kids here because then I can drink in the pub.
Yeah.
You know, with my mates and the missus and her friends, and they can bring all the kids. And
That's what they do.
Everyone's having a good time.
That's what they do.
Oh, dude,
Everywhere's got these
the same
places.
one.
That's great.
The bolo just around from my place.
The
just
bolo.
Put a
The heads.
massive one. Yeah. Just put a massive kids
That's
playground
awesome.
in.
That's so
and the
good.
biggest TV screen on the south coast.
That's probably what we need in the shop. Just a big
Just-
play
just
centre.
Big play centre. That's
Come
it.
here, leave your
bring-
kids, look at
bring the
guitars.
kids. Yeah,
Playgroup,
that's it. Well, the kids can go
guitars.
play in the play centre and not, you know, knock the guitars
We
around.
can play on our
Yeah.
lunch breaks.
That's it. Yeah.
But, you know, the good thing about that pub, and going back to the Epiphone, kind of ties
Yeah.
into this Epiphone story, is that, you know, part of the bar, you know, had a live
music sort of thing, venue.
section, and both the artists are playing the new Epiphone Master Built series stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa! And everyone's like looking at these guitars because they're so obscure.
They're really popular.
They're popular.
Yeah.
Because you know, there's nothing really out on the market really like it in that kind of price point.
Yeah.
You know? Like they're sort of, they started at $1,100.
They kind of have that traditional songwriter acoustic guitar sort of feel to it.
Yeah, definitely, of course. And then you've obviously like one of the guys who's using one of like the like a 1930s style big band. I think it was like the Deluxe from memory. I had a couple of beers at the time, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to the model.
But they were definitely Epiphones.
They're definitely Epiphones, and
It's
I just
good.
I thought it was
They're
great
used.
because they sounded great, you know, live. You know, they sounded great, you know, and they were really, you know, happy playing them out. And it's just kind of, I find a lot of people are using Epiphone and they're not sort of going to, you know, looking at it going, it's just the cheaper brand or whatever.
Somewhere to start.
Yeah, it's like, you know, people are going...
Professional instrument.
Yeah, people are gigging with dots and 339s.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, the Les Paul
100%.
standards, you know, you know, coil tapping and... You know, I think the you know, the new customs in the Epiphone range have like, you know, they've got the coil tapping now, which
they
is
look
great.
really good as well.
They're awesome.
They look really good.
And we sell a lot of them. We sell
Yeah,
tons of
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. So having this SL Epiphone at American price point's $99. So over here it's going to be a little different, obviously. And we
but
don't
it's
know
probably
yet.
be under $200.
I dare say, that's probably where you're looking at.
Yeah.
But you know, having a guitar at that price point, I think what it does is it becomes more achievable for people to play guitar.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of what brand you work for
or
manufacturer, I think that's what we want. We want more people playing music.
People play guitars.
You know,
And that's the
100%.
good thing about guitars like that these days is back in the day, you know, like 50 years ago, not many people play guitar because it was so hard to get into it.
Well,
It's
not even-
expensive.
Expensive,
you know, expensive.
Yeah.
Music lessons expensive.
Well, not even 50
you know.
years ago, man. Like I've been playing since I was 13 years old, so we're going on almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And I remember, pardon me, I remember buying my first bass, you know, starter bass pack, right?
Yeah.
And because I'm a bass player, and I remember it cost like, you know, the deal price, and I looked up, I bought it out of the trading post from a music shop. You know, that's what you did back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was like $650,
Yeah.
and it was a no name.
Yeah.
I still got it. It's a Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Bass.
Prince.
Yeah.
Not the Prince.
No, not the Prince.
Just the print symbol.
but
It's a full like.
But it was a jazz bass, red sparkle as well. So maybe there was a bit of a slight, you know, Prince influence there. But it was kind of like, it was like that was the cheapest option for a bass player.
Yeah.
You know, and there was nothing else. And back in like the 90s, man, like, you know, no one had a lot of money back then. Like it was tough times back then. So I remember, you know, my dad's like, if you really want this, you know, you're gonna have to stick with it. And I was like, and I stuck with it. I still have it.
Yeah.
It's been great, but yeah, you're right. Back in the day, it was so unachievable to
get a higher quality instrument.
Yeah.
Now bang for buck is just out of this world.
And it's so easy.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, and it's so easy. It is, and it's so easy to learn. Like, I mean, obviously we got the music school.
That's right.
And it's great, you know, one-on-one lessons.
It's crazy, yeah.
But also, you can look up stuff online if you if you don't want to fork out the $30 a week for a music lesson. You can also check out stuff online and get yourself started.
There's so many different avenues to be able to
obviously
that's right.
One-on-one lessons. You can't beat one-on-one lessons. Like, because I always had one-on-one lessons. But
I've always sort of found that no matter how much you can sort of learn by yourself or pick up, just sort of like you going in for like a bunch of lessons, you kind of get past that. You kind of hit a wall.
You do.
You hit a wall with being able to pick up stuff.
Yeah.
You go to someone, or you sit down with someone that knows how to play a different style or is a much better guitarist than you, and get them to show you one technique that all of a sudden just unleashes a whole other avenue of
stuff. It's like the next level on a video game, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's right. You can't get past it until you've got that, and that's what a one-on-one sort of thing does. That's why, you know, you have people that kind of go to you know, they go with one teacher, then they go with another teacher.
That's right.
That sort of thing to
kind of expand your horizons.
To get the different styles and that sort of thing. And
you also get inspired by that teacher. Like you're sitting in that vicinity one-on-one, and you're just watching them play, and you're like, wow, I want to play like that.
Yeah.
And then they teach you how, and they hold you accountable every week. So that's the best thing about lessons too, is that every week, you know, you're going to go back to your lesson.
And they're going to know.
And they're going to know whether you've practiced or not. So you better practice. And it kind of just gives you that little bit of a kick out the butt to be like, oh, actually, I better practice.
Make sure you cram the day before.
Yeah. And it's just that accountability is huge for one-on-one lessons, you know.
Sure.
So, and I think paying the money makes you more accountable too. If you just think, I'm going to learn guitar, I'm just going to, you know, I'll just look up a few things here and there and whatever, you know, the motivation isn't necessarily there. But if it's like, I've committed to a term's worth of lessons, then I'm going to make sure I learn this, and I'm going to make sure, you know, otherwise I've just blown this X amount of money, so I have to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but anyway, just we digress a bit. Yeah. But going back, talking about what it was like in the 90s, back in the heyday in the 90s, some of the older listeners are just like...
skateboards and pop-punk,
that was
baby.
Yesterday.
Yeah. But I want to go back further and talk about Gibson, the old school Gibson. Like I'm talking like before guitars, like when Gibson were just making mandolins, these folk instruments, because that's how Gibson started, right?
That's right.
They started making the folk instruments before guitar was even a thing. It was like your mandolins, violins, and these kind of old school instruments.
Yeah, banjos and it's bluegrass.
Because that's what I learned a bit about too when we went to the factory, is like the history, and then how Les Paul became involved.
That's right. Yeah.
And Les Paul, because it was kind of the race to build the solid body electric guitar with Fender and everything. So
it's like
Les Paul
like the
was
moon race.
It is.
It was like that. It was. I think it was like, well, Les Paul was doing his own thing. He had nothing to do with Gibson at the time, and he was creating these guitars where they were kind of like because back in those days you sort of had like the acoustic-y style guitars with like kind of like the F holes
like
as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
but then making them, getting them to be amplified.
Yeah.
Obviously wasn't the best system, but Les Paul was coming in and created this guitar called the Log, which was like more of a solid guitar.
It was literally a log, you know.
Like with the pickup and everything. And so
like
Gibson,
EMGs.
well, not EMGs.
Drop C. No, drop A.
But Gibson obviously saw what Les Paul was doing and said, let's get Les Paul involved and him to help us create the first.
Pretty smart on their end to see that sort of to sort of see where it could go.
That's
I think like everything, they just, you know, they kind of at that point in time, everyone was just taking risks on you know what's going to be the next big thing. And
Les Paul was crazy though. He invented multi-track recording as well. He was the first person to come up with a multi-track recorder in the studio.
Yeah. That's it, man. Like he pioneered a lot of things that we use today. Like, you know, you think about, you're talking about multi-track recording, and you think about, what about if he didn't invent that?
Well, we couldn't do this.
No, we definitely couldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
But you think about, what would music sound like without him? And you couldn't even imagine it. I can't anyway, because you think about all the artists that you listen to now, and even back in back in the 60s and
anyone
70s.
that's ever picked up an electric guitar and played music.
That's it.
Or
listen,
what would
to
happen
music.
if Les Paul? Yeah, if Les Paul.
That's it.
Well, he invented the humbucker, right?
Yeah.
So the humbucker pickup was Gibson and Les Paul's design, because obviously the hum of the single coil, that's what the humbucker does.
Yeah.
It cancels that hum out by having two coils side by side and gives it a fatter sound. So that was a Les Paul thing, and they started putting in Les Pauls first.
Yeah, right. I wonder what his deal with Gibson was. You reckon he was on a wage, or you reckon he was getting some sweet royalties, or what? Like, did he get? He must have got rich from this, right? Or you reckon they screwed him?
I don't. Nah. I don't think there was any screwing. I think. I don't think any musicians really rich.
Yeah,
or music.
I mean, I don't know. Mick Jagger's probably pretty rich.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, I wonder if
look,
back in that day, how they.
I'm sure he would have been happy. Otherwise,
I'm sure there was a good deal, and
otherwise he wouldn't have kept.
He wouldn't have kept his name on it.
I think there. I think
left
with
his name
music,
on the guitar.
you think about the reasons why you guys pick up guitars or do what you do, or even
for money.
what your dad does, Glenn. It's a passion thing, right?
Yeah.
You whether you build guitars, record music, you're a producer, or you're just a listener. We have a passion for it, and I think money kind of doesn't even come into that equation if you're really passionate about something.
Yeah, but that does change when your name's Les Paul, and he was probably the biggest star at that point, and his name is selling the guitar.
I don't think his ambitions were to have his name on every guitar, but maybe I'm wrong. I wasn't alive back then, man.
I don't know. I thought you'd know, Vinny.
I'm a wealth of I'm a wealth of knowledge, but probably
not 1940s pop music.
No, not.
I think it would have been, Les Paul. Here's this guy who's inventing things, but he needed to take the next level, and it was just perfect timing. Gibson were looking for someone to do that. It was a good partnership because they needed a guy like Les Paul. Les Paul needed obviously the funding and the platform to take his guitars to the next level, and that's what happened. And here we are. And I play Les Paul custom. Actually, I got it as soon as I got back from the factory tour. I was like, I need a Les Paul. Got a white Les Paul custom, still used today.
This is the dangerous part of going on these sort of trips.
Oh, man.
That's right. You just get inspired. You're like, I need one of these guitars.
Need one of them.
That's why
I went to the DW factory. I don't play drums, but it's I should really get a DW drums.
Yeah.
Get a full exotic timber one.
Just spend all the money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I can't afford it, but I must have it.
But it was probably 5 years ago Les Paul passed away.
We had the 100 year in 2015, I think it was. 100.
Right.
Yeah, because I had the Les Paul scroll.
On the headstock.
On the headstock, that's right. Yeah. So he I believe he lived a very fulfilling life. Pioneered a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm disappointed I never got to meet him because he obviously did a lot of great things, and one of our customers, Paul Ditton, actually went to New York and met him.
Oh, wow.
He had a signing.
Awesome.
He had a signing and everything.
Wow.
So he actually met him.
Cool.
Yeah,
a few years before he passed away. So
crazy.
Yeah.
And just quickly as well, Vinny, do you want to tell us about these new orange amps?
Yeah, so we just side note to the Gibson Epiphone thing. We also import and distribute orange amps, which are fantastic amps.
They are great amps.
Yeah.
They are
British tone.
Well, I think we've had. Did we have it in a debate at one point? No, orange and Vox or something, or something like that.
I think they're two very different.
No, I think we had Marshall versus Vox or something in the debate.
That's right.
But Orange are kind of like their own thing, and I mean, I love Orange amps. They got a great sound, that British kind of rock sound, great for your indie guys, great for your rock.
I was telling the dudes in the shop,
just nice sort of sound and overdrive, not super high gain.
It's a clean. It's
articulate
drive. You pick all the notes out. I was telling the dudes in the shop, I don't think they still make it. They used to do the Thunderverb 200.
That's right. Actually, we still have some.
Do you? Yeah,
we still have
200
some.
watt head, but it's got the attenuator built in.
That's right. And actually, a lot of the amps...
The guys from Under Oath played them.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, which is why I sort of knew about them, like 200 watt valve
I know,
head.
those days are big amps. I think you were talking about it last episode with Clay from Fender about the whole big amp thing.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
really
right.
a thing anymore. And I think that's Orange is kind of like I don't know if they've pioneered it, but they've definitely added it as a big feature.
Well, they've had that whole tiny Terra thing.
Well, yeah, there's that.
They
but
really
also,
they kicked that. They really kicked that off.
Yeah.
That small valve head.
Yeah, that little lunchbox thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But more so like the attenuator dials and attenuator switches. Like you know, you find it. Like, if you look at like the Rockerverb series and the Dual Dark series, like their flagship, big heads.
Yeah.
They both got attenuator.
You can
dials.
run them at smaller.
Well, you just dial it back down however loud you want it, but you don't lose the tonality of the drive.
Yep.
And I think that's what you guys were talking about. Last episode was like, you know, you can get some really good sounding drive out of a tube.
The smaller wattage
stuff, because you can drive them harder. But you know,
yeah.
you can, with the Orange amp, especially the Dual Darks and the Rocker series and the Rockerverb series, you can dial them down to how the volume that you need, which is great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And the new Rocker 15 and Rocker 32, they have a switchable attenuator.
So combos or
combos? Yeah. So you've got a single 10
in the 15.
In the 15, and it's a.
So what's the 15 go down to? 7.5 or something?
No, it goes down to 0.5.
What?
Yeah. So you got 0.5, 1, 7, and
0.5. That's the ad right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want 70% of the marketing that brings in as well. For that, if you use it.
That's it.
Entrepreneur.
Chibs will be on their social media adverts now.
Just saying, if I hear that,
0.5,
it's a lawsuit.
Yeah, so no, it's cool. I think it's good for guys like me who I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I've just gotten one of these the other day, so I'm yet to kind of play with it really. I just kind of had a bit of a quick trundle.
Yeah. So it runs at 15.
15. You've got 7.
Oh,
1.
right. Okay.
Or 0.5.
Oh.
Switchable.
4-way.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's nuts.
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's
good. And a 10-inch speaker.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
So the tubes would be working pretty hard at the lower watts, and then you keep the volume low, but you still get that nice breakup.
That's
wicked.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And it's got a valve buffered effects loops. It's super versatile.
That's good for the studio and stuff as
that's
well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And the attenuator is actually obviously like switchable, so you can change up whatever you want there.
Yeah.
And it comes in black or orange as well, so which is kind of cool. Like, orange has always been known for that bright orange. Like,
It's always been really cool to see that on stage, hasn't it? Like guys like Wolfmother and all that. When you see all those orange cabs,
and it's always
and
confusing when you're trying to sell it. And you go, "Do you want the orange or the black orange?"
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, you're right. You see him on stage, you're like, oh man, that's the orange. And then, And then the black ones, you kind of look, is the crest there? Yep. But those cabs are so popular.
They were really, there was that massive phase there where you saw, without a doubt, every time you went to a festival, you saw orange heads, but people had like Mesa cabs or Marshall cabs or whatever. So that's when you started to see the black ones come up a lot more because they fit in. It was
aesthetically,
always an orange head sitting on a Marshall cab or a Mesa cab or something.
But then it kind of
used to go to that. I don't know why. Like, I don't know.
But then
why
sometimes it goes the other way, where like the orange cabs are super popular and they're using different heads too.
Yeah. Well, there was a massive. I saw a massive shift when I was touring around and whatnot. That dudes are actually shifting over, and they were putting they were using orange cabs.
Yeah.
And they were just running whatever head they could grab. On there, and then towards the end, I've found a lot of people just going straight with the full orange rig.
The 2x12 cabs are always so popular.
It's the most popular cabinet.
Because they got Celestion. What's the speakers?
Vintage 30s.
Vintage 30s. Yeah. But I mean, they're
UK made.
Yeah. There's open. It's the open back 212.
Yeah.
cabs.
Open back's 212.
They're only like $1,000 retail.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
something?
Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah. And then the closed back's a little bit bigger.
Yeah. The open back's going to give you that real I've had people that have got AC30 heads and stuff like that. But then got the orange because it's like it's that open back.
That's right. It gives a bit more air.
Sort of sound. Yeah.
You get a little bit. you get a little bit more
Or Fender heads
airiness
even.
and-
Fender heads.
What do you think about
on
a
them?
lot of-
Yeah.
You think about a lot of those
Yeah.
kind of branded amps and stuff,
Yeah.
and they have like a bit of an open, they have like open backs or
Yeah,
things like that.
because that is a cool thing when you go head and cabinet, which you've got the extra hassle of having to carry 2 different units around, but it also gives you that variety that you can get by. You can have a couple of different heads in your arsenal. You pick one nice cab, but you can switch out the heads and get different sounds.
And those speakers, the Celestion Vintage 30s, I remember I had them in my Mesa cab.
Oh,
and man,
they
are
go too.
They're great speakers. They are kind of like, they must be up there with the most popular speakers. That you get.
I dare say,
Because
You think about a lot
that's
of
the
the
sound that you want for a lot
manufacturers
of
out
guys.
there, and a lot of them have that vintage 30s.
What's vintage 30s and greenbacks? Like
much,
that,
yeah.
that's it. That's pretty much like or no names.
That's
Yeah.
That's it. So I find like any amp with like those Celestion speakers in there, they just sound ducks nuts. If I can use that word.
No, 100%. 100%.
They just sound good. It's kind of like the SM57's like the industry standard, right? Or SM58 for vocals. The Celestion speaker range.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So.
For that style,
so there's a 32 watt. What are they? Are there
the Rocker 32?
What are they called? A Rocker.
The Rocker, yeah. So the Rocker series. So you've got the 15, which we spoke about.
Yeah, and then a 32
32, which is a 210.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, right.
210, 15 watt aside.
Yeah.
So it's 7.5 watt switchable.
Yeah.
Right. All tube.
Yeah.
Right. So they're both all tube. Again, black or orange.
Yeah.
And it's just a bigger version of the 15 watt.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be good. So are they here or?
Yeah, they're here. They're here now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it's $12.99 for the 15 watt and
Yeah.
$17.99 for the 32 watt.
Yeah, cool. Well, if they're not on the website, I'll get them up today.
Yeah.
And you
so they've just
jump on and check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And how about I'm just gonna play some music here, and we're gonna get Big JS to drop some knowledge on us. Alright, G. Music for the mind. Fill my mind with music. Facts.
About to drop some knowledge
Do
right
it.
here. Get ready.
I'm scared.
Open your mind. Open your
These are
mind,
good.
Vinny.
These are good. I've been reciting these at dinner time.
Have you?
Interesting facts. Yeah,
Interesting anecdotes.
Yeah, my wife hates me and she doesn't want to listen to it, so it's basically
Is
me
this like
just
this
talking
20
to
to
myself.
1? Like, those TV shows, 20 to 1 facts.
Yeah.
This is the section of the podcast where we talk about the benefits of music.
Of course.
Benefits of listening, playing the music. Today I've gone with benefits of playing music. And this one I'm dropping on you is it sharpens your concentration. Playing music by yourself requires you to concentrate on things like pitch, rhythm, tempo, note duration, and quality of sound. Playing music in a group involves even more concentration because you must learn to not only hear yourself, but you must listen to all other sections and play in harmony with the rest of the group. So I got that from effectivemusicteaching.com.
Concentration.
Sharpens your concentration.
Yeah.
Right? Like it gets you to focus on what you're doing, and then also if you're playing as a group, focus on what everyone else is doing, and you have to listen out to, hey, is that bass player out of tune? Are they too loud, or are they too soft, or they didn't come up, or whatever it is?
You kind of think like today, like you can be so easily distracted by your phone or doing. You're always doing 2 or 3 things at once.
Yeah.
If you're playing guitar, or you got band practice, and you're playing with a band.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. You're only
That's right.
playing your guitar and you don't listen to that. You're focusing on this one thing.
Exactly.
There's not many things today.
That's why it's good as an escape.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's as an escape too, like so it gets you out of things, and when you're even singing and playing guitar at the same time, I mean you're not thinking about anything else, are you?
No.
You're just focused on that.
Yeah.
So you're concentrating on that, you're focused on that, and that's why you can just zone out from everything else and just do that. Or drums, for example. Like you're concentrating on coordination, keeping the beat and everything else. And
getting that anger out.
Yeah.
Hit those drums.
Yeah.
But you got 4 limbs going when you think about it,
That's
plus
right.
your brain.
Yeah.
Like, because,
It's hard to be worried about what you're going to make for dinner while you're also playing drums.
Right. I think you
Yeah.
hit the nail on the head when you said it's a good escape. For someone like me, I travel around a fair bit for work, and I'm always sort of thinking about doing this and what products here and the specs on that and this and that. When I go home and my kids go, Daddy, can you play, the Trolls song on guitar?
Yes, I can.
You know what I'm talking about, Chipsy.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
And Glennie, I don't think you're too far behind, mate.
No, mate.
So-
For our podcast listeners, my wife and I are expecting.
Oh,
Yeah! Good man.
Boys can swim. So, late Jan, early Feb. The due date's still up for grabs. I don't know. They
it's
haven't been
around
able to
then.
nail it
It's
down.
around then.
But yeah, late Jan. And so we were talking about going to NAM
yeah.
in January, and I was like, oh crap, I'm going to be having a baby about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I can't go to NAM this year. I have to go to Summer NAM.
Summer NAM, yeah.
I think.
That's
Summer
right,
NAM.
July.
Summer NAM.
Yeah.
Do they still have the seminars and the talks?
Yeah,
and that
they do.
there?
Yeah.
I think
It's,
that would be better. We'll have to.
Where do
Is
they
that
do?
in
Where do
Nashville?
they do? They do in
Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah, it's like so.
Could be
Obviously,
cool,
like
something
Gibson.
different.
Yeah, Nashville.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Do the Delta line, man. Go and like visit all those bars, like the blues bars and things, and
Yeah.
just go up.
Go
Yeah.
see
The whole
Colt
area.
Clark's facility.
Yeah,
As
that's
well.
right. They got a new facility in Nashville.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And maybe drop by the Gibson factory.
That could
Right.
be arranged.
See,
Definitely.
cool. Dr. Epiphone. Give us a
Dr.
tour.
Epiphone.
Let's party.
Party with Dr.
Let's
Take you to
party.
a party, yeah.
Yes.
Glenn's got a baby. Let's
Yes.
party.
That's it. But going back to what you were saying, like, I just kind of like sit there and play the troll stuff.
Yeah.
I play that sort of stuff for them so they can go to sleep. That's kind of our routine.
Yeah.
And basically, like, I just kind of think about just finger picking the notes and making sure I'm singing kind of in tune. And
Yeah.
and then I kind of look over and they fall asleep, and I'm like,
Still going to hit this solo.
still gonna play,
Yeah.
But I still, I keep playing, and I kind of like escape. I just focus on the, the task at hand, which is
Yeah.
No, I think
playing
that's
for my kids. And
I think that's a good point.
It
Jeff.
is, and it's also listening to music is an escape as well. Like,
Oh,
so if
definitely.
you're playing it, you're also allowing others to escape too if they're listening to you,
Yeah.
if they're
See,
enjoying
I
it as well.
think there's
If they're not
n-
enjoying it, they're really trying to escape.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. But I just don't think there's any negativity to music at all. I can't see it. I like to, maybe hear from someone that might have some sort of maybe some sort of negativity about music, because I'd like to hear about,
Yeah.
maybe
It'd
there
be a
is
hard
some-
argument to stand up.
It would be. It'd be definitely one of the toughest arguments,
Yeah.
to bring to the table, because every time I see someone listening, playing,
Whether it's a style of music you're into or not.
yeah, everyone's got their own opinions and their
Yeah,
own
yeah.
tastes. It's like guitars and amps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
well, that's
hear-
what you need, and that's what makes it different, and that's why there's so many different types. And,
That's what makes it
and
unique,
It'd be
and
boring if it was
100%.
one type,
Yeah,
right?
exactly right.
You need different flavors and different types of music to
Exactly.
create.
It's like
Yeah.
an extension of yourself, right? It's
Yeah.
like you kind of like just putting yourself out there, and this is who you are, and that's what you're playing.
Yeah.
I think it's just I think it's a beautiful thing, to be
Yeah.
honest.
There you go.
Not to be like
No, I like it. I think that's good. I think
man.
that's a perfect way to wrap it up.
That's it. Yeah,
All
great
right.
way to wrap it
Well,
up. Thanks heaps for coming down, Vinny.
Thanks heaps, Vinny.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on the podcast. Thanks, G.
Thank you very much, Jibsy.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Remember to rate us and review us.
Yeah,
and
subscribe on iTunes.
Subscribe on iTunes.
And jump on haworthguitars.com.au and check out all the stuff that we've spoken about today. I'll put links in the show notes.
And Facebook. Facebook.com/Haworth Guitars.
Yeah.
Without the Y.
Yeah, tell us who you want on, and we're thinking of maybe doing some musical guests
Yes.
as well in future episodes. So
Yes.
hit us up if you can.
Yes. Elton John's touring.